What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 2 of Collection of Goods. This is Tyler. I'm Jake. I'm Tyler. That's Jake.
I'm Jake.
Yeah, my bad.
No, that's hilarious.
So today we're going over a posthumous collection of Yoyo. Sorry, I'm not gonna make too many jokes.
That's hilarious.
These are my brothers Yoyos who passed away 9 years ago now, 2013. So yeah, 9 years ago. Yeah, can't believe it'll be 10 years ago next year. Isn't that wild?
Anniversary,
Yeah.
Jesus.
So yeah, rest in peace. But yeah, these are not all of them are his Yoyos. It's a selection of his Yoyos. Some of them are. There's a handful of my Yoyos from around the same time period. One of the Yoyos was actually started off as his, and then he traded to me. Excuse me. So yeah, let's get into it. It's a
great assortment.
Yeah, like there's a lot of repetition, but also like it's very similar to a brand like ART where like they have the same design aesthetic, but it's like spread apart over several different models. And it's like I feel like Danny's collection of Yoyos
he likes
is very
freehands, clearly.
Right.
He's known for the purple and white freehand zero that he would use, but these other Yoyos are pretty much all organic. And we'll get into it, but like for example, so a Yoyo kind of similar to a freehand, but different with these H-shaped freehand basically is the YoYofactory Velocity.
Yeah, this is a later Velocity because this is an earlier one. Yeah, this was a first generation one. That's a proto for like the second generation. So these are the first ones. They released, or these were at ECC. Do you remember the first when Spencer came and stuff?
Yep.
So the reason I know is because the inside and then the plastic is just a lot denser. Like you can feel the difference in the two. And then that one's made out of silicon. Like this one's made out of
these were nice as
polycarb. Yeah, they're so nice.
First run Velocities.
They're incredible. They're made in the USA.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that wild?
Everyone was playing with these when they came out.
The first run plastic grind machines are made in the USA too.
Oh wow.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Classic. But these are I remember Danny loving that. I remember this white one, I'm pretty sure, unless this is yours, but
no, it's his.
Yeah. I remember being at ECC with Danny.
That one is probably one of the OG ones.
We hung out a lot that contest.
I think he bought one of each, a black one and a white one. And it's like he never bought Yoyos ever, but it's like
white
was these.
White was the one. Everyone wanted white, I remember, because it's white Yoyos are just sick. They're clean as hell. And
yeah, I need to get like a nice display made for these. They're literally just like sitting in a box of mod fodder. Like I had to dig through
it's the dilemma of Yoyos, dude. My collection's just in more or less boxes as well.
Yeah, my grandpa's like a master carpenter though. Like he could literally make. I mean,
make a nice shadow.
He's old, but it's like he could definitely make us some shit. Yeah, he made me a really nice display a few years ago. But yeah, these are very cool. Sorry, what were you?
I just remember him playing with it a lot, and I remember being impressed because I mean it's not a bad Yoyo, but it's finicky.
It was weird at the time because the 888 came out and that was wide as hell. And then they released this like right afterward. And it's like almost not half. It feels like it's half the width of an 888 at the time. You know what I mean?
But at the same time, that's what Danny was into, was a very Spencer Berry mindset of like semi-responsive to responsive Yoyos. Lots of pads instead of O-rings. He was into he was just a very naturally skilled Yoyoer. So he could use anything. But he chose to use, from what I saw anyway, more Yoyos like this and freehands and like stuff that were a little harder to Yoyo with. Just, I don't know if that was on purpose or just a preference thing.
I don't know. Yeah. We were all, sorry to interrupt you.
No,
we were coming home from that really long trip we took to the Midwest, the one we called Ramen Tour. We got back to Joey's house and his like grandpa had brought him some like random Yoyos from a yard sale or something. And there happened to be like a Duncan Professional in one. Or do you know what that is? A Duncan Professional?
Yeah.
It's like
super slim line.
Yeah. And Danny picked it up and like threw it off string. And like first try, like just landed on the string. We're all like, whoa, that's crazy. And like, I never watched Danny play off string or learn open whip catch or anything, but literally he throws it. And then just first try just does an open whip catch and then just one-handed binds it. We're like, what the fuck? Oh no, professional, first try. We're like, this is crazy.
That's what I mean.
And then he did it on film. Yeah.
He could do that with anything.
Yeah. It's very like Bo. What's the guy's name? Is it Bo Jackson, the guy that played both sports?
Yeah,
There's like
I think
just crazy stories about him when he was a kid.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. It's wild.
Yeah, Danny could do it all. He was good at off string because I remember that track 8 or whatever video we made, track set.
Yeah.
We do like something where I have a 5A yo-yo.
Dude,
and we put an off string yo-yo
those tricks are insane.
And then Danny's over there like whip catching everything. And
but you're like the same way. You're like literally reject. It was just funny. Yeah. Rejections were like a new concept. We were doing like
off string rejections.
Yeah, like just to exit out of a metal.
Yeah.
It's so funny. It was so far ahead of its time.
Yeah, we had fun, dude.
Yeah, dude. Wild. Good times.
While we're on that, here's a metal velocity, more or less.
Yeah, that's.
What'd you say? It's called the adjustomatic.
The adjustomatic. Yeah, Hans made that one.
Yeah, very interesting yo-yo name.
So this is the first velocity that came afterward. Yeah.
Yeah. Adjustomatic, very slimline, big bubbly rims.
And then this is like the most recent velocity. I think this is the same model velocity that you can buy now.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is basically the bubble model G5 that they had made, but with a dial inside
with the dial.
Yeah.
The dial is cool.
And these are just a pain to make. So these are made in the United States. These black ones, or they came in like 5 or 6 different colors. They're made in the United States, and YoYofactory was still assembling everything at the time. So imagine like putting all these dials into literally 500 or 600 yo-yos. It was insane.
With the little screwdriver.
Yeah, and Hans's mom is like in her 60s and has arthritis. So she's like, can't exactly do it that well, and it's like everything has like a very plastic isn't like an exact, you're familiar, it's not like metal where it has an exact concentricity, so like sometimes you have to like really force parts into place and stuff. So it was just such a pain. Ben made Hans assemble all these on his own, and they like never got sold. They actually, I take that back, they did make it to Yo-Yo Expert years later.
Yeah,
because like Hans's dog had like an abscess tooth or something and it needed to get removed, so he like randomly just sold all of them one day. That was kind of crazy.
Damn.
And then this was another version.
That's the fast for SD.
Yeah, 401k SD. That's SD. It, right? Yeah, which has a dial, but it has a V shape. And it's like kind of Genesis like, but also
it's
kind
of cool.
It's a really dope yo-yo. Yeah. Danny loved this yo-yo and the PPK. You remember that?
PPK.
Yeah.
That
the PPK was like a slimline version.
Early,
of this. Yeah. YoYofactory was like the king of like releasing an incredible classic profile, and then like 3 weeks later, all the retailers getting restocked with like a random like arbitrary. They still
do that. It's like the Taco Bell method, like the same ingredients but just mix them up in a different way.
Yeah, yeah,
sort of.
No, I mean a lot of big corporate entities do it, but it's just like it's just very crazy. Like it's I don't know.
They do that now with the Confusion, I think the yo-yo's called. Yeah. Then they did Confusion Mini, Confusion Slimline, Confusion Response. Like
I think they did a titanium one. Yeah, like that's wild. All the dial yo-yos are great.
This one has great custom engravings on it. As well.
Yeah, I'll zoom in on them later, but we can read them for you.
I live for the funk, I die for the funk. Classic Biggie song that he made a video with that as well.
Did
Danny? Yeah, or no, I guess they used Machine Gun in the tribute video Miguel made for him.
Oh, right. Yeah, they did.
Machine Gun film. So I guess Danny didn't pick that, obviously, but he loved that song. I think
he did. Right? Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
Obviously, it says "Shit Eater."
He had 3 tattoos on one of his where I have "Stay Gold" on the right side. He had "Live for the Funk," and on this side he had "Die for the Funk."
That's right. I remember when you got those.
And then he had "Born to Lose" across his chest.
It's insane.
I should get "Live for Funk, Die for the Funk" again. Whatever you.
Poop face. Yeah. It's got a bunch of penises.
Boyd and I both did this.
Boyd Seth.
But yeah. Live for the cock.
Live for the cock.
It was great though. Yeah, Danny played with it a lot. You can tell because like the finish has like it's like almost worn down. Like it has a crazy and like the engravings are like dirty too. The laser engravings. Yeah, it's cool to see that he played with it a lot.
It is really cool.
About it a lot. Yeah.
Very cool yo-yo, one of a kind.
Yeah, great series of yo-yos too. Francis Judd, like YoYofactory is constantly there. If you wouldn't believe how many B grades are at the factory there, but they literally they sold one recently that like Boyd and I were test engraving with a bunch of these on it, and it had like "Live for the Funk, Die for the Funk" engraved on like a Genesis.
No way.
Yeah, and Francis was like, "Ben told me like you had something to do with this," and I was like, "Oh yeah," and I like told him the story.
That guy's got some great yo-yos.
Yeah, he sold them a lot for a friend of his, but he has some great yo-yos too. Yeah, he's like my gauge of flavor of the week brand.
Oh yeah.
I love Francis. He's one of my good friends, and like when I was in Phoenix, I take that back. I had a lot of friends in Phoenix, but like there was like a weird beef with like the guy who he works with, that Julius guy, and like all the rest of the yo-yo community.
Yeah, Julius, okay.
Yeah, so like he just tried his best, this Francis kid, to really like bridge the gap, you know what I mean?
Right.
But like every time a new brand starts to get hot, he immediately buys like every single one of their yo-yos in every colorway, as many as he can. Like it's crazy every time. Like he always stocks up. Like every SF yo-yos, he has every single one that he can. Like Turning Point, same thing.
That was a good investment.
Like, yeah.
SF's going for money now. But
yeah, I wonder what those will go for in a few years. They posted a palette the other day. Did you see that?
I saw the color palette. Who knows what's next? Yeah. Keep that middle one out, because I think we should talk about.
Oh yeah.
This is an interesting.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next.
Yo-yo. It's made of wood.
Yeah, proto that never got released. Yeah.
It says Loud #1 proto, so I assume they were going to call it the Loud.
Yes, yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Great name for a yo-yo.
Hildy,
still, yeah.
Luke Hildebrand.
Yeah,
correct?
Luke made that. Yeah.
So Hildy Brothers Yo-Yo Company, if anyone's heard of that.
What do you think that one's made out of? I don't know.
Probably like maple.
Maple, that's what it looks like.
Maple, yeah. It's really light.
And this one feels like
that one might be like yellow heart or zebra.
Or zebra wood.
But it's a very similar profile to the 401k SD.
Yeah.
So I think Danny may have been inspired by that Yoyo Factory yo-yo to make a cool fixed axle wooden version.
Yeah,
and there's a purple heart
variations, yeah.
Which is really sick.
It's okay. There's like a lip at the
end.
Probably
plays great.
We'll have to show everyone what this little thing is resting on after.
Yeah, we'll get to that at the end. But
yeah, cool observation. I think Luke maybe mentioned that to me previously.
Yeah. But that's interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
I never saw that yo-yo. Probably would have been very popular if it were ever released.
This one?
I think. The Loud, yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I bet it plays well.
Yeah, I wish more people made wooden yo-yos. It's such like a lost art.
John
Gates
is doing it now. And his are supposedly really nice. I know like Ed and Doc Pop really like them. But.
Yeah. While we're on the topic of series, I guess we'll talk about all the Danny classics that are here.
Yes.
I guess.
So originally the purple Freehand was a Freehand 0. There was no purple Freehand 1.
Yeah, that was the Glass Eye edition.
It was the Glass Eye edition Freehand 0.
And
it kind of came and went. I mean, it was popular, but it wasn't
released officially anywhere.
Danny really made it popular.
I don't know where Danny even got one from. I forget.
I wonder, yeah.
Because they weren't available anywhere, I don't think.
I think they were an Infinite Illusions exclusive, maybe.
And like you had to call in and get it or something. Do you remember that?
Or maybe it was a GlassLab.com. Do you sell them himself?
Maybe? I don't think so.
Or a handful.
You could get them from him, but like they weren't. I don't remember them being available at any store. I forget. Do you remember? I don't know if you ever you were definitely yo-yoing around this time, but Infinite Illusions, like when the Japan Crew Freehand Zeros came out, they weren't on the website. You had to like call them.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. The orange ones.
Yeah, what a good colorway. Oh, speaking of which, look at this fucking thing that I brought. Oh man, I'm glad that we just talked about it.
No shit.
So we used to like Seth and I when we were younger and have a bunch of spare freehand parts. You know what like a ugly stick is? It's like like a fishing rod of like a bunch of different pieces. So like it's like an ugly freehand.
So this is a orange, which was the Japan Crew, right?
I don't know if it's Japan Crew or the Yo-Yo Nation. Yeah.
Yo-Yo Nation Dayglow.
I think
orange.
It is, yeah, because it's brighter
pink
orange
for the ladies.
And roll it around, like the pink one. Look, there's like Danny must have did this. I wasn't there. He like laid a little rhinestone inside.
No way.
It's so weird, isn't it? And it's in the gap.
Little jewel inside into it. This is awesome. Cap. And then a Higby cap, and then a Yo-Yos are for cool kids. Paul Escolar original Freehand 0 cap.
Yeah,
that's worth money by itself.
I just threw it together.
So sick.
I have so many parts boxes at the crib. I need to go through everything. I should have brought one of those just to go through. Yeah, open it up. It's like a fat silicone. I like did it on my Dremel, but like it's satin finish too. It's like
it is. I noticed that on the pink.
Yeah, that pink one was one of my first yo-yos. Probably.
Yeah, it's like a whole pad.
Yeah,
area of silicone. Like I forgot about the spacers in these things.
Oh yeah, Jesus. Dude. So many pieces.
That's crazy.
It's probably what I like learned. Not that one specifically, but like one of the first things I ever like modified. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
It like plays well on the string, but it's like it's actually surprisingly smooth for. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
Stone can hurt you.
Oh yeah. Hilarious.
Yeah, it's like interesting colorway though. Yeah. Should make a couple more. But
so yeah, the glass eye came out, and then somehow Danny got his hands on one and threw some white caps with the logo wiped off.
And Seth was definitely the first person we saw doing that with the wiped caps. Yeah. And it just looks so clean, like without the logo or anything.
But he used this in lots of videos. And he just became synonymous with Danny Severance for sure.
And it was always stock too. I feel like at the time that was like,
yes,
everyone. Sorry, I'm listening.
Like that's what we talked about at the beginning. Like he used stock yo-yos.
Yeah, and everyone knew that. But that was like a thing that was conversed about at contests. Was, oh, how's your yo-yo modified, or how's that set up, or what's your setup like, or that was something people would talk about. Now it's kind of it's basically just like string pads and bearing. That's the only thing.
It was baller to be like, it's stock freehand.
Right.
Like, don't worry
and
about
see
it.
how
and
you
then
yo-yo.
do like sick tricks with it.
Yeah.
People would be very impressed by that.
And you couldn't yo-yo like Mickey. Like everyone was trying to yo-yo like Mickey at the time and just do like
giant lacerations.
And like you couldn't do that with a responsive freehand. You could, but like you couldn't yo-yo.
You had to yo-yo differently. Tresley is a great example.
Yeah.
That one famous Tresley freestyle.
Right. Yeah.
Where he's using a stock freehand 0. Or a hyper freehand, actually. I think a black hyper freehand.
I forget what he's using. We'll have to watch it. But yeah, using a responsive yo-yo is definitely something that is lost on players nowadays. Because when we were kids, that taught you certain style techniques. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you are classically trained to learn how to play an instrument. Like someone who learns purely off instinct and learns how to manipulate just based off feeling might have a better like feeling of the instrument, but a person who's classically trained is just going to look and sound a little better. I guess.
You can just tell in the basics, like
exactly.
doing a trapeze alone, you have to do differently with a really snappy response.
Yeah.
You have to hit it just smoother. It sounds cliche, but like
it really does.
You just yo-yo smoother.
It just puts these like preventative measures on your yo-yo style that teaches you, because like when you're playing unresponsive, you have these liberties that you can take.
You can wobble your hands around. You can go off plane.
Right.
Like stuff
you can't do
with it. You need to stay on plane, and you need to make like micro movements with your hands. You can't be like.
And then when you see someone that's hella smooth, that just means that they've like mastered that shit, and that's like
Jason
second
Lee's
nature to them. Yeah, Jason Lee's another great one.
Like perfect.
Yeah, in that 2004 Nationals video, is using like one of these with a similar gap, and he looks fucking incredible with it. Like,
yep. Yuki Spencer too, all those guys, because they grew up with Renegades and freehands.
Yuki and all those old worlds, like 2004 Nationals 2004, when he's yo-yoing with the night moves and he's just going in like the most tech Yuki era.
And it's a stock night moves. With a
it's like either Starburst or double O-ring. Like it's not silicone. Like it's so wild to me, and he just throws it as hard as he
won worlds
can.
With like a semi
stock freehand one almost.
It's a freehand, the bionic freehand one, the silver one, which came out at that contest. So or maybe it came out at Nationals. I think it came out 2001 Worlds or 2002 Worlds.
Either one.
But either way, he probably just got that thing and took it on stage.
I never thought about that, but that would be wild if he just bought it.
He probably did. They probably
insane.
gave him one. He didn't buy shit, dude. It's just probably like, here you go, Yuki, have a freehand. And he just took it on. Doing Yuki slack with his, it's insane.
Steve has some funny stories back in the day of like when he first met Jason Lee and the way he was yo-yoing and shit. He said the first time he met him, he had a cherry bomb, he had a Bumblebee GT. But like his brake pads were worn, and the brake pads, like the cork pads. Yeah. So he had 2 Pringles lids that he had cut and then just like sanded or like roughed up a little bit to create to get the yo-yo to come back to his hand.
That's insane.
Because his family was just like very broke and like refused to give him any money for yo-yo shit, and he was fucking like 13 years old, didn't have a job or whatever. So it's like, oh, how am I gonna make this work?
Very ingenious. That's a smart move.
Yeah, dude. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Starburst, basically.
So
what's up with this guy then?
So Wesley Chang, who is famous for his powder coating in the yo-yo community, he did a short run of these. It's basically a 1-to-1 freehand. That's just metal. And he did it before Duncan did the freehand one. This is like 2016, I think he did these, or 2017. I don't know.
They have a great bead blast.
I can't believe that's the powder coat finish. Isn't that wild?
Oh, wow.
I know, dude. Wesley's a master. He's a fucking master.
Did he have these made overseas?
Yeah. He made them FPM.
Okay.
These were like one of the first yo-yos made at FPM.
Wow.
Because I like recommended to him. I'm like, oh, dude, like these guys are gonna be the new shop. Like everyone's gonna be using this. Like they make the best yo-yos. And then he made them there, and they like fucked up a bunch of them because they're small bearing. They never made a small bearing yo-yo before, so like he had to like get them to remachine the spacers because like they fucked up the gap measurements, and like it still plays pretty well, but
plays
like,
really well.
It could be better, I guess, or I don't know.
And it fits,
I think it plays great.
Fits the plastic caps from the Zero.
Oh yeah, they're Freehand Zero caps, right?
Very cool.
Yeah,
beautiful rendition, similar to your wet that you did, the Danny wet. Purple and white. There's been several like special editions of yo-yos in this colorway because of Danny, so pretty cool. Some big stuff coming in the future too from Duncan.
I mean, you posted a photo of it, didn't you?
Yeah,
we could talk about it.
Yeah, there will be a new Freehand, the Freehand 1 model, in this colorway, and it's so cool how it says Danny X Duncan.
Yeah.
Danny's name on Freehand, he would be.
Isn't that wild?
So stoked. Dude.
I know.
He might act like, whatever. I could see him being like, but inside he would be so stoked.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No, I know exactly.
I could see him playing it off like, yeah, of course I got Freehand.
Yeah, I've definitely thought about it just because, like.
He would love it.
Yeah, we all played with freehands back in the day, you know what I mean? And, we never got like a pro. Well, Mitchell's had an edition, so like we kind of had like a signature edition, like a local thing, you know what I mean?
And I appreciate that the new ones come responsive too.
Yeah.
So, and he would have loved that too. He would love the stock.
Oh yeah, they play
freehand.
great. Yeah.
They play like how a freehand should play.
Great for a long time. I feel like all the old jaded yo-yo players, which Danny was definitely like the pinnacle of those players, or like a peak of those players, you know what I mean? Just people who are like so over yo-yo, but just so naturally talented at it. Like the Spencers and the Jason Lees. Nowadays, they're totally cool with like throwing all of that old hat shit to the wind, just being like, oh, cool. Like this yo-yo, like you said, it's responsive and it plays like, because old Danny would be like, this has a silicone pad. It's stupid.
Yeah. You throw a friction sticker in it.
Yeah.
Which you can do with those too. They make stickers for them.
That's wild. Yeah, they come with 3M pads. Yeah. Yeah, I'll need to take like a cool photo of all of them together and find the Y-Wed, and it's a cool series.
I have one of the wets if you need it.
I should start reaching out to manufacturers and getting them to do colorways if they want to, and just donating a couple and be a cool way to raise some money.
Iconic. It's become iconic, which is really fucking cool.
Yeah.
People know what it is, and Danny lives on through that. Yeah, purple and white yo-yo, which is pretty special, I think.
Yeah, they're gonna be pretty limited, the new run. So everyone who's watching this now, if you want one, make sure you pay close attention to when they drop, because they will sell out the first night. I'm sure the Paul ones went the first night. There's not going to be as many as the Paul ones, so make sure you keep an eye out.
Purple freehand.
Yeah, I really need to get a nice display case for those or whatever. So this yo-yo we got from John Huber at Worlds one year. John Huber, Ditch Down John Huber.
Oh, okay.
And that's how we know Takeshi recessed it too.
Like the cap is like starting to crack a little.
Yeah, yeah. They're all freehand ones are kind of like that. I mean, eventually,
It looks cool how worn it is. Though.
Yeah. John was also the first person I ever saw take off a freehand cap with a knife.
I see where he did that.
Yeah, that's how I know that it's recessed by Takeshi, because Takeshi used to sign all of them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's like, check it out. And he like popped it off. And because Danny and I are super worried, like, oh, isn't the cap going to crack or something? He's like, oh, no, check it out. I'm like, popped it off. And I think Danny traded him like 2 or 3 Yo-Yo Jam yo-yos for it or something, which like back in the day, it's like
it's a great deal.
$90, $100. I mean, it's about like on par for what they were worth back in the day.
These feel so different than the Freehand one, or Freehand Zero.
Yeah.
They're so much more solid.
The cap is just a little more sunken in, and that's why you see how like it cracks around the very edge right there. That's why, is because it's so compressed so tightly. Happens on all of them, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good recess.
That's the classic right there. I have one of those.
Some archival shit here.
It's so cool.
It's got a concave
He's
bearing.
He's got the smushed ass O-ring.
That's
in
heresy.
there too.
I mean, it barely ever comes out. Like it's probably
concave bearing. Yeah,
I know.
Those are rare, dude.
It's
A size.
Well, when I worked at YoYofactory, I would just and this is like a 50-cent bearing, so it's not like it's breaking the bank for anyone. But yeah,
and a matching yo-yo here.
Oh, I didn't even.
the McDonald's color.
But yeah, the reason the O-ring is so smushed is it just stays in storage all the time. And yeah. It also sucks that like the pad print wasn't so great from this era because like great artwork, like classic logo, but like they're all slowly fading away.
Yeah. They would rub off if you just from your finger.
So this yo-yo is a 70s butterfly, I believe. Definitely, I don't think they had plastic yo-yos in the 60s yet. Or maybe, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's a 70s butterfly. But Tim Redmond, excuse me.
Pennsylvania guy.
Who formerly had the world sleeping record for a long time. Like, well, not that long, actually. Probably only like 2 or 3 years before Hans came in and drunkenly beat it at World one year. That was so funny.
What did he use?
Hans?
Yeah, what yo-yo?
He made a yo-yo purposefully to break the record. Not for him.
To be production though, right?
For other people. Yeah. Right. He made like 100 of them. It was called the Buddha King. It was just originally to break the to see how long you could do like a pool start sleeping record for. But then he made one that was good for that, and then also like throwing it down and then sleeping. And dude,
I would love a Buddha King.
They're probably kicking around some. Yeah. Well,
they're probably pretty rare.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Because I think he only made like there's like 3 or 4 different variations. He made like 100 of each, and they sat in stock forever everywhere. And
right.
But it was one of those. It was at the time when mono metals were going for like 67 or not, no, even more than that. Like I was gonna say like 80, 90, $100, and they had hub stacks too. So it was definitely like $100 yo-yo. But the inside of this yo-yo looks cool too. It's similar to the Freehand one, like Jason, like Jake just pulled out, but it's got dirty ass nylon string. Yeah,
it's just wild. It's just a high wall Freehand basically. Yeah.
But the plastic at the time, like newer butterflies are made out of really shitty plastic. It's called regrind, which is basically just like after they've injection molded plastic like a bunch of times and they've like scraped off the excess, they just like recycle and ship it and then re-dye it and bleach it. And then like they'll make yo-yos out of that. And like, it's just a cheap $5 yo-yo. So it's just made to go up and down. And like, it doesn't need to be made out of better plastic than that. But these are made out of really nice plastic, which is why they could like, it's pad recessed. Like it's nicer plastic than the fucking Freehand one is. You know what I mean? Like you can just feel it, like you said, it feels heavier.
It feels heavy, solid.
It's dense.
It's beautiful.
I wish we could see through it. I'm pretty sure there's a rubber weight in it. I can kind of see it.
Oh, you think?
Maybe I'm just high.
That would make sense. Honestly.
Yeah.
Because it's heavy as hell.
It's a very cool yo-yo though. It plays very interesting. Technically a hybrid yo-yo. It has very shitty starters.
Yeah. Weak ass starters.
It's a cool yo-yo though. Great artwork. It's got a hot stamp on it. The hottest of stamps.
Oh yeah. Let's get to that.
Speaking of which.
This is just a legendary yo-yo to me. People went nuts over these. I mean,
they really didn't. Amongst our friend group, they did.
Amongst a very small group of people, we really love these things.
They would be kind of hard to find too. Like Todd, he was like not elusive at Worlds, but he wasn't chilling. You know what I mean? He'd be around. He'd be out at the pool. He'd be at his in the room. He'd be at fucking Hooters. Like he'd be hard to find. Like
Dale Bell, who owned Yo-Yo Jam, had a son named Todd who would do. I guess from what I understand, he would run the hot stamping machine for the caps of Yo-Yo Jams.
Yeah. I'm sure he had other jobs there too, but
he loved doing that, I assume, or that was his thing. So he had one made up. It says Yo-Yo Jam Master Hot Stamper.
That was a theme every year.
Todd Bell.
Every year that would just be what it was called, was the Master Hot Stamper.
Yeah.
It would just be a different edition of the Yo-Yo Jam yo-yo. Like whatever they basically made in clear that he could paint or whatever.
Yeah. So he painted them. It has his name, Todd Bell. It's kind of his signature yo-yo.
It's pretty sick.
And there's little flames next to hot because it's a hot stamper.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And it's painted, and then it looks like he scratched through the paint to make those lines.
Yeah.
I would guess. Yeah, he like scratched flames into it more or less.
That looks like some Mark Gonzalez flames or something like that. I don't know. It's
And
interesting.
It's a Patriot or
it's a journey.
Journey.
It's way smoother than it should be.
Yeah. It has no response in it right now. But.
Oh, no, never mind. I take that back. It's actually really shitty.
Yeah. It's cool.
It'll be fun to play, though,
caps.
I'm giving this to Jake. Why did you mention this last time when we
talked about it.
Why did you bring it up? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I really don't. I just remember always wanting one and I never got one.
Okay,
Sonny
yeah.
had one and like all the cool people had them. So I'm honored to own this thing. It's one of the coolest yo-yo jams in my collection for sure.
It's either James's or Sonny's. And I'm pretty sure both of those dudes had a big skein of this shitty string.
Yeah, the string is weird as hell. I hate it.
It was like,
but I'm going to keep it on
I think
there.
it was like second or third generation Brazilian poly or something.
I thought it was
don't know.
Brazilian.
Yeah.
It's so bad. Bad feeling. But I remember that's what the Brazilian poly, people liked it because it whipped really hard and like, but just a unique piece of yo-yo jam history. And I'm all about Yo-Yo Jam's my favorite company for sure. So it's neat to have a thing that Todd Bell painted.
Yeah. I wonder if anyone at Yo-Yo Jam, we should reach out to Valerie or someone and like see if she would be down to do that coffee table book thing. Cause like I guarantee that if she put it up for pre-order that we could get, you know, quite a few people. And we could find a couple people in the yo-yo community that would be willing to touch up and like redo the photos and stuff. For
yo-yo jams are just so unique. They'll never be made like it was a guy who had a candy store of yo-yo. He had a factory. He could do whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
It's like the dream.
I thought you were confusing Greg's story with Dale's story for a second.
But it's to a yo-yoer. It's a candy. It's it's like the Mecca
100%.
Willy Wonka factory because he could do whatever he wanted, whatever he could dream up, metal, plastic, all aluminum, whatever he wanted.
Right.
So like the yo-yos like this, like a Hitman, there's never going to be anything like this again. And it's a really unique part of yo-yo history. World champions used them. Everyone used them.
It's a great point. Yeah.
They were like the pinnacle of yo-yo technology at one point. So I don't know. I'm
influenced and inspired tons of yo-yos.
Yeah, they're just so special. I'll always love Yo-Yo Jam so much. And this is a really unique one. This is a Hitman that's also Takeshi modded, I believe, right?
I'm pretty sure. I'm like 99%.
Someone
sure.
modded the shit
I don't
out
know
of this
who
thing.
else would have been able to do this, you know?
Yeah.
Like Mark, actually,
Mark Allen
I'm
could-
almost positive it was Mark Allen now that I say it out loud. Because I'm pretty sure I got it from him down in his house, and maybe he told me it was like kind of shitty, and that's why maybe I like traded him for it or something. Because he used to have tons of yo-yos like on his little workbench.
This thing is sick though.
It's pretty fucking smooth.
It's smooth. It's very smooth.
Maybe I tuned it. Maybe that's why I got it from him. I'm like, oh, I tuned it. And it's perfect. And he's like, oh, crazy.
And so it's a Yo-Yo Jam Hitman with the
Avenger
center
cuts.
cut out, like the guts where the bearing seat would be cut
You
out.
can see a piece of the hot dog logo and the
Yeah.
Avenger logo is great.
Avenger was a Duncan yo-yo,
Yeah.
which was like a slimline ball bearing.
That would make one
Interesting.
of those great bootleg yo-yo t-shirts I was talking about. Just
Yeah.
Avenger and those
Yeah,
collegiate letters like
Yeah.
over the top. That would be sick. Avenger would be a cool yo-yo to bring back. Like I'm sure the mold is dead by now, but like it's a unique looking yo-yo.
It
like
is. They also had what
They
was
could
the
make
one
some
called
cool
that had the
marbled
ball
colorways.
bearings in it for weight? Ballistic.
The ballistic, yes.
The ballistic was really sick too when you clean the bearing and like modded it up a little bit. I had like a really nice ballistic, I remember.
Yeah.
And you could take the ball bearings out of it to adjust the weight of the yo-yo, which is like just crazy.
Yeah. And then ballistic caps would fit into a freehand zero cap.
Mm-hmm.
The hub.
And they were like more round, more convex.
Yeah, bubbly
Or
ass.
Yeah.
I found one of them that Higby painted the other day. It was like a Joey
Yep.
Fleshman cap and
That's
like
sick.
a big bin of caps I have at my house.
But this is a beautiful piece. It's got
Yeah, I
the
can't
pink,
believe-
clear pink.
I've never actually, I've never
Gorgeous.
seen another Hitman like that.
No.
It's kind of milky.
And
It's
it
got
looks
little
good
strings
with
of
the
white.
yellow. It is milky. Yeah, it's almost
Milky ass Hitman.
milky ass Hitman. Shiny rims, almost polished.
Yeah, I feel like Danny may have polished this when I was away or something. I don't know. Or tried to. It looks like he kind of tried to and fucked up a little bit. But
Another freehand inspired shape, honestly. Pretty much, I think.
like this is inspired by the
I
freehand.
think the Hitman is, yeah. Don't you think Johnny probably...
He definitely played with the freehand
He
one. I mean,
It really is just a chunky organic.
I feel like this started to go into the foray of like modified V shapes. You know what I mean?
That's true. It's
But-
a little more V in the middle. You're right.
Because it is.
But the outer rim is
It is
just-
chunky organic, like you said.
It's an organic.
It's one of the few yo-yos that almost concaves all the way around or whatever.
Yeah.
Like curvatures all the way around.
Hitman's.
Yeah. It's funny when people are always like, it's so similar to the 888, and it's like they're definitely inspired. Like the 888 was inspired by this, but it's like
people. That's an optical illusion because the 888 had that thin metal line,
right,
which made it look like it had rims.
Yeah, when you hold them side by side,
they're not. I got an 888. We'll compare them. 888's so much smaller diameter,
so much smaller. I think it's even wider,
so much wider. Yeah. I've always thought that was crazy. I think it's
like Hitman is kind of a skinny yo-yo. Like it's the perfect diameter. I think it's like 54 and some change in diameter. But like I tried to base the train wreck design off this, which you can probably kind of roughly tell. Yeah. Great yo-yo. I should get a better bearing in this so it doesn't sound like shit.
Yeah.
I wonder if this will ever crack because like the bearing seat isn't, it's been cut out.
Dude, that's probably why he did it. It was probably a cracked up Hitman.
Like the edges are worn in some places, but like
it has no cracks in the edges though, because they crack all the time right here.
Right, yeah. It's looking rough there, but it might just be dirt underneath of it or something. I don't know. Incredible yo-yo, incredible piece, like you said. I like that it still has the Yo-Yo Jam like mold mark in it. It says Yo-Yo Jam in it, but it also kind of says Duncan. I've just always liked the look of modded yo-yos where it looks like a Frankenstein. Yeah, different pieces, right?
There's so many cool ones.
Speaking of which,
dude, you gotta get Shinobu. That's his name, right?
I've met him before. He doesn't really speak much English.
Incredible if we could somehow go through his yo-yo collection. Oh my god.
I don't know if you've ever met anyone in yo-yoing that like... The first time I ever met Jason, I did this to him too, where I was just like, so nice to meet you. Like, thank you for everything you've done for Yo-Yo. Like, you've inspired me so much. And like, Shinobu was just like, oh, thank you. Like, just like a little vow. And then like, he was literally modding a Yo-Yo at the time. So I understood, but it was mad. I like had like 10 fucking drinks and like he had a booth 2 booths away from mine in Japan. So it was pretty tight.
He's incredible.
Yeah. Mickey was separating us. It was hilarious.
Modded yo-yos.
And then when I met Jason, he was just like, okay, don't ever fucking say anything like that to me again.
That's so Jason now.
And then John Rob was like, what's up? My name's John Rob, and dapped him up. He's like, word, you got any beer, John Rob?
Nice.
It's like, no, but I do got a little bottle of Hennessy. He's like, that's cool, I'll drink that too. And he just guzzled like half of it.
I do got a little bottle of Hennessy.
He's like, damn, Jason Lee. Wow. He calls everyone their first and second name sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this and I think Brian Glass Eye sent me this after Danny died.
What? I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, it's like a little crucial piece. He sent me one to bury with Danny that was like totally stock.
Really?
Yeah, he's like a very religious dude. So yeah, he sent me.
Did you bury him with that? I mean, sorry if that's too personal. No, but any other yo-yos or anything, or just
no, like some weed and
some weed.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then a purple freehand that Brian sent. Yeah.
Wow.
But he was like very specific about like Danny getting, he wanted to like, how did Danny set it up? Like, was it 2 stickers? Was one worn in? Like, I wanted to be like how his was set up for him to take it to the other side.
That's so nice,
like,
dude.
damn, Brian,
that's so nice. That's a really cool.
Yeah, Brian's always been a nice guy. When I first moved to Phoenix and I used to like visit LA a lot, I would crash at his crib. And one time, like when we were all in a contest, him and his wife and like his son came up and gave me this framed photo of just like different photos of me at contests that I didn't know were being taken, like random candid photos of me, but like over the course of like 2 years at every West Coast event. Yeah, it was one of the nicest things anyone's ever done. Like I've saved every time like a kid or classes, like, you know how they'll give visitors like, we made you a card and like we looked up your video and YouTube made you a card. I save all those and like I save anything that like people give me. Like I've got so many dumb like paracord bracelets from people that are like, oh, check it out. It's like a yo-yo holder. It's a bracelet. Check it out. But I can't find it in my heart to throw it away. So it's just in a big fucking box in my basement. But like, it's the whole reason I have that DVD from Gabe over there. We'll check that out later.
We got to check that out.
Yeah. But
check out Glass Eye on Vimeo. He has a great Vimeo page.
Oh God, I can't imagine one. Videos. We should just one night we need to
go through that. It's all the experiments. Dude,
we just need to have a drinking game where we just go in and just drink as much as we can and watch those.
We'll just do a marathon. That'll be hilarious.
Just be crying at the end. It hasn't been recording for 2 hours.
Badly, yeah.
It's like, I fucking love you, Jake.
So speaking of modified yo-yos.
Yeah, this yo-yo is a Buzzon Blaze, which
That was the rubber rim Element
Yes.
X.
So the Element X, the Nemesis, the Bushido, and the Blaze, I believe, all had the same body,
Yeah.
but just all had different rims.
Yeah.
So the Nemesis had like slightly more inlaid rings.
Thin
Yeah.
rings. It was lighter weight.
Right.
Bushido was
lighter.
trimmed down, I think, a little bit.
Yeah.
And had caps over the rings, but they were also thin rings.
Right. Yeah.
Bushido is a really cool yo-yo. I would love to own one. I know CJ's got a couple.
Bushido was like
That was
a
B3A yo-yo.
brass ring, or well,
Mhm.
yeah. And then people with the Bushido used to like cut because it was really deep inset brass ring
Yep.
too, and they would cut it down.
Yeah.
A lot of those
slimline as hell.
yo-yos, Miggy told me in later years that Dave actually used like recycled shower rod curtain holders, like how
As
it
the
has,
ring?
yeah,
Wow.
because like they're just really cheap and like. But that's why a lot of them vibrated, because like they're cut down the middle, you know what I mean? That was also suggested to Hans and Yo-Yo Factory for like the Protostar and a lot of other yo-yos. They're like, oh, why don't we just use a pipe? Like we could just literally cut off sections of pipe, polish it up, put it in the yo-yo, and we'll be good to go. But pipe most of the time it's the cast, you know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
like it has a seam running down it. So like you'd have to remachine it anyway, but like it's just not as concentric as a machined metal. So
Also, Buzzon, notorious. The whole team was stoners, and Dave is like a very big stoner. So calling a yo-yo the Blaze is just funny. That's all.
no, that's hilarious. I never even thought about that.
Pretty
but
sure
yeah.
that was by design. Yeah, like see what we can get away with, kind of thing. It's a
Yeah,
very
that's
funny name. But
yeah, that one year Jesse sent like literally a QP of fucking Mexican swag weed to Worlds.
Yeah, I remember
was
that.
so funny. Like nobody had seen that much weed before
Mhm.
in their lives. Like
shout out Jesse Garcia. The statute of limitations is passed.
Oh
on
yeah,
that.
no
We're
one. Yeah.
good. So what kind of rings are in the Spintastics, right?
Spintastics, I believe, is the Yo-Yo Eclipse. It has like the weird
Eclipse.
douchey tribal artwork on it.
Yep.
Actually, no, because the Eclipse rings were kind of sharp. They like came down to a point. Remember?
Yeah, you're right.
Fuck. What rings are
Sting,
these?
Manta Ray.
These are
Sting-
brass.
We'll have to
God
look up
damn
Spintastics yo-yos later.
Yeah, or maybe it was an old Yo-Yo Jam yo-yo.
I
Maybe
really
it's Spin
think these
Factor.
look like yo-yo jam.
Maybe it's
rings.
a Spin
That's
Factor
what I
ring,
was
yeah.
thinking, dude.
And that's why it's so heavy too. Because like
Brass Spin Factor.
because the
rings.
bodies themselves are like shit plastic. They're
Yeah.
polycarb, but like they're so easy to cut. If you ever modify a Buzzon yo-yo, they shave down like
Yeah.
a Celcon yo-yo. They're
I
very
do
easy to
love
mod.
this colorway though.
Oh, yeah.
For Buzzon, it's like a mustard
Marbly
brown
mustard
marble.
brown plastic.
It was
yeah.
very unique and still is. Like no one makes yo-yos that look like this.
Yeah.
So this just has straight up pad
Isn't that
recess,
wild?
no
It has an
SDR.
Aquarius size bearing.
So it's whoa! I didn't even realize that.
Isn't
It
that
plays
wild?
so good
It plays interesting. It does play good for the time.
for
Like,
what
yeah.
it is. It plays very well.
The reason I'm being
I wish I
so,
had caps.
so ginger putting it back together is because if
It
I
will
drop
crack.
the bolts, it won't even crack. It feels pretty durable. It just,
Oh, the bolts. Yes.
yeah, if I like
That's what I was talking
drop
about.
them, it'll be not tuned
The
anymore.
Hex
It'll be all
Nuts.
fucked up.
What we would do is put when you found a spot that worked.
I didn't
This
do
doesn't have
yeah.
it, but
I used
yeah,
to have stickers over
Sharpie
it or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I should do that. Yeah.
so that you can match it up. But you would literally be popping this open, spinning this hex nut, putting it back together, throwing it, spinning it again until it's smooth. Like that's what
Yeah.
you had to do back in the day. It's so crazy.
Oh yeah. It teaches you a lot about yo-yos though, and
Yeah,
like
it
how
does.
things are
just
produced.
the littlest
and, like,
thing
yeah.
of balance, like a hex nut in the axle, like changes everything.
Oh yeah.
Or where the axle is in the yo-yo. In the case of Anti-Yos, they had big, thick, fat axles. It was all about like getting it centered, which required just
Still
guessing
can't believe
at
how
this.
smooth this yo-yo is
Yeah.
for the time.
Very cool yo-yo.
Oh,
So that's
what
all
should we
the
talk
modded
about
stuff.
next?
Well, this is
Yeah.
sort of Buzzon adjacent.
You think so? Why would you say that?
Polyauth, right? It's the silk, isn't it?
He did the milk,
Oh,
and that's why he did the milk.
Whoops.
Yeah, isn't that
So
funny?
the silk was Eric Wolf then.
Yeah. So the reason he did the milk was because
Well, famous modder.
he sold Greg Cohen a bunch of the Polyauth carbon fiber pads, and Greg just like skipped the bill and never paid him for them. And it was apparently like several thousand pads. So like
wow. Those
Paul-
carbon fiber pads. Were
he just
sick.
used to like brazenly steal things from the Infinite Illusions table of worlds. Like we would all be hanging out and he would just like reach over and take things and walk away. Be like, did you just take that? I'd be like, yeah. I'd be like, what the fuck? And he'd be like, yeah, Greg owes me like $1,000. It's like,
That's
oh, okay.
hilarious.
Well, I get it. Like,
Yeah, that's fair.
it was so funny. But yeah, they made this silk yo-yo, and then this was like 2006 Worlds, and 2007 the milk was out. Remember?
That's right.
And this was handmade. So Eric Wolf used to like cut these on a lathe. Like these aren't made on a CNC lathe.
Chunky axle, crazy hub. The nipple is insane.
I think Danny tried to fix, or Danny put like an SPR in these or tried to, but obviously you can't fit it.
It had insane spacers, right? Originally, like custom.
Or no, it didn't have. It just had a bearing seat that was Delrin, and that's why. Because after you take it together and put it together a bunch of times, it would be shit afterwards, right? And then like they pad printed it, and Delrin is a self-lubricating plastic, so like the pad print would just not smear off, but it would like chip off very easily. We'll have to see if an SPR
fits in that.
It doesn't. I know it won't, because like the axle's too big. Buzzon axles are especially skinny. You know what I mean?
They're so thin and fragile.
We could probably do something to make this work, but like I don't really care that much. I don't know. It'd be a cool yo-yo to remake.
It would be.
It's very
the shape is incredible.
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
The nipple.
Right.
It's weird to me, but
yeah,
that
it's
shape
very
is
similar to like a peak 401k kind of shape. But
yeah, it is like a peak.
Big chunky organic shape.
Big chunky freehands. That's all.
This is chunky organic shapes are like the butt rock of yo-yos. It's like
they are
the Steely Dan. Shapes. All of our dads.
This is a great organic yo-yo.
Yeah, so that's a grind machine. I should have just brought the caps
the
for
original grind machine, not the grind machine 2 that everyone loves.
Yeah.
This is the original grind machine, which is very nice balance. It had plastic caps on it, so I was so confused when I saw it.
Yeah.
Nice,
you see this little lip it has in it?
It's so weird.
Yeah, so like the bearing the string doesn't fall between the gap.
Smart.
I have the caps and the actual paper cap too. So one of them sold on eBay for like a couple $100 recently.
It's very valuable.
I wouldn't get rid of it because Danny actually played with this a lot, but it's cool and it's really cool. It like looks cool. Like
this color is what I was trying to replicate with my olive rebounds. It didn't quite. I didn't get it quite right. Yeah, but I always loved
a good green,
this grind machine green. It's like a pale army green. It's very very cool looking.
Classic, remind me, I'll take some photos of it, like in comparison or whatever.
Yeah, that would be cool.
So you can Pantone match next time.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, it's a cool yo-yo. It definitely, I don't know why at the time everyone just thought you could make like an organic shaped yo-yo and that was like the move. You know what I mean? Like this, you've ever seen the Samurai from Super Yo?
Yeah,
it's like a V shape kind of, but it's basically a hollow
metal
Renegade,
with metal caps.
Yeah.
Speaking of that's all the rage now. Yeah. That's been done since 2002.
I've probably sent, no exaggeration, 50 emails to Super Yo in their headquarters trying to
remake the Samurai.
Well, to see if we could get a run of Renegades. Yeah,
it's a metal Renegade.
Because Andre would get a run of Renegades made in a second if they would let red and black Renegade or whatever, and a marble one, or like you'd do 500 of those easy. But like. They've never responded to us. I've left phone messages, I've called and left messages, and like, yeah,
just gotta show up there in person.
Listen, Arnie Dixon.
Yeah,
listen, bud. They used to respond to emails, and when I was a kid, I would email them all the time, be like, "Where can I buy a Renegade?" They're like, "Send a check in a self-addressed stamped box too."
Crazy.
Yeah. Trying to think of any other good notes for this yo-yo. I think actually just maybe the cap goes in this yo-yo, and that's why.
So clearly inspired by a freehand. I mean, they were making a metal freehand more or less.
Yeah.
It's a little slimmer, but
yeah,
pretty cool. And then it came and went really fast. Very quickly after this, they released the Grind Monster, which was...
Was this 2003 or 4?
Yeah, and then 4 was the Grind Monster.
Okay, so it's 2003.
So it was 1 year later, they like replaced it with the Monster, which is a much smaller diameter, much more modern.
It's so crazy that this came out like the same year as this. You know what I mean? It's like, wet. Yeah, it's very similar to a wet. It's almost 1-for-1 a wet, probably.
That's what it looked like. I thought it was a green wet because of the nipple too.
It's like 2 bike bells just with an axle in the middle. It's a dope feeling and looking yo-yo. It reminds me of that Copa yo-yo almost, kind of, but not like as sharp. You know what I mean?
Especially with no caps, it's lighter.
Yeah, very cool yo-yo.
Speaking of Super Yo, this is probably the coolest set of Renegades I've ever seen color-wise. Dude, you got the Easter purple, like pastel purple
Dan
marble.
Beats Renegade, that's who I got that from. I'm pretty sure I told you
the one
that
you were talking about.
Yeah.
A glow-in-the-dark, great green, pale green, and then
where I got that
a
from.
very special clear orangey, marbly. And what's special about this Renegade?
So the orange Renegade is the Renegade that Spencer Berry did Laceration on, and I don't know what. Oh damn! I've never noticed. It has like a little bit of marble. It's
it does.
The Renegade that Spencer Berry did Laceration on, and
the first Laceration.
I don't know what Spin Doc's video was. We'll have to look it up and post a link or something. But yeah, it's an incredible little clip. I'm pretty sure it is. I've watched it a lot.
Yeah.
The clip even if it's not, it's just a cool Renegade that Spencer gave me that he put.
It was a Spencer Berry Renegade.
Yeah, that he probably played with for hundreds of hours.
You can feel the starburst and you can feel how they're worn down. It's really incredible.
Yeah. It's funny that I don't have any parts in it. This is just how Spencer gave it to me. Like it wasn't, but wow. Great looking.
Great plastic.
I can't believe how many colors that this came in back in the day. Damn, this is kind of cracking around the edges. Look at it.
Damn. This purple one is marbled as well. They're all Star Hex Nuts.
That purple one's like...
Star was the later one, right? Or was Star the original?
Star is the original.
Okay.
Or wait. No, because that one's Star. No, that's recent.
Hex Nut was the original.
Yes, thank you.
But
this one's Star too. Wow. Okay, cool.
I think they they overlapped quite a bit. And
I had a Hex Nut one, but I like this look.
Yeah, the font. Yeah. That's so much better. This is older for sure.
Oh yeah.
This is I don't like.
They kept the Renegade, but
yeah, that would be a great T-shirt. Just as
that's what I was about to say too. Yeah,
or a hat,
Renegade.
Yeah.
God.
Oh. Yeah, that thing plays nice.
Yeah, it plays well. Yeah, I think I actually Kai has my other Renegade that's Spencer's. I may well just let him have that. It's a bird in hand edition that's blue marble body with orange marble caps.
Yeah.
It's so fucking pretty looking.
Who has it?
Kai. He cherishes it though, and he plays with it constantly.
Yeah.
Plays with it constantly, so I'm not like... if anyone ever looks at anything of mine and they're like really stoked on it, and it's
like the Master Hot Stamp.
Yeah, I'll gladly give it to them because I'd rather them have it and be stoked on it than it just sit in my shit. You know what I mean? When I was at a summer camp this summer, I had this polo sport bag, Ralph Lauren polo. And it's pretty old. It's from 96 or 97. So a little over 20 years old. But one of the camp counselors, a 17-year-old kid, was like, yo, I thought you were coming in here with the Biggie tattoo and you were going to be a fucking weirdo, but you're so cool and the kids love you so much. You got a fucking polo bag and shit, yo. And I'm like, yeah, man, I fucking thrifted it. It was $4. He's like, for real, man, let me buy that joint off you. I'm like, oh man, you could have it. And he's like, what? Nah, man, let me give you some money for it. I'm like, dude, it literally cost me $4. Please have it. And you guys are paying me several $100s to be here and teach the kids how to yo-yo. I'll gladly gift you the bag, trust me. But he still refused to not give me anything for it. It was funny. But yeah, I love giving people shit like that where it's you genuinely like it. I would rather you have it than it just be in my house, or even if I use it, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Very generous. I appreciate the gift.
Yeah, man. We should have talked about this earlier. I forget
when we were on Yo-Yo Jam, we missed one. But
this isn't a Danny Yo-Yo though, but it's just a cool period piece I figured would be cool to talk about.
So this thing basically could have been AJ Kirk's signature Yo-Yo.
Yeah.
He sold a lot of them. He used them all the time and repped them really hard. It's a Spin Factor HG.
It's funny you mentioned him specifically selling a lot of them because he worked at Mitchell's at the time, and he was a great salesman. Yeah. And I was the worst at the time because I was just so into yo-yo and I was trying to get better and I was on the grind, but and Joe hated that because I gladly would display my world championship trophy in the glass case of Mitchell's, my nationals trophy, and anytime that he bragged about me I was into it. But I probably could have sold so many more yo-yos for the guy if I was I understood how sales worked at the time, but I was just oh, cool. I can yo-yo back here behind the register. No one's going to bother me till they want to buy something. And yeah. But like you said, it was basically, I love looking at the Yo-Yo Jam yo-yos in the light when you can see the marbling
beautiful
and stuff.
Quality plastic. Very cool. These things never cracked that I know of.
It does have a cracked nipple, but I'll have to be very careful with it. God.
But HG material, another perfect example of how Dale Bell could do whatever he wanted. Since he had his own facility, he ordered this material that was, it's metal flakes injected into plastic, right? To make it heavier and denser. So the black part you see, the rims are more or less plastic metal rings.
If you did a ding and it got a deep enough gash, you could actually see little bits of metal, right? Yeah.
Which is just so futuristic seeming, and like I think they bet more on it than it actually was successful. Like they were like, this is the future, and people weren't like crazy. I mean, people loved them. They had like a cult following,
Right.
Like the Chaos by Eric.
Yeah, they did a lot of not a lot of HG yo-yos, but
by
they did.
Jen Baybrooks.
Remember the Relic? Both of
The
Jen's
Relic,
yo-yos are
which
HG yo-yos.
which was
You're right.
a looping yo-yo with HG technology,
material.
which is.
But they claimed it was self-healing too at the time, and like they were hard to break. I never broke an HG, and I dropped mine all the time.
Which is why it was a great 5A yo-yo. I think AJ used it because you could drop these things and they would practically bounce.
They kind of did grinds, like the material was like semi-low friction.
AJ
like,
had a really cool 5A grind. I remember his 5A grind combo.
Yeah, it was a great yo-yo. And then remember like the copperhead
version, Copperhead,
Copperhead
which was one of these, but the rims were dark brown,
so it had probably just a higher concentration,
like
right? Yeah,
instead of
these probably had copper too, but like it was just a higher concentration of copper, which is why it had the brown color too. Maybe
those are sick, man.
And then do you remember the triple threat?
So that
Ben
had
Conde. Was it Ben Conde, Grant Johnson,
John Narum,
Grant Johnson?
Yeah. So it was basically this yo-yo with a rubber rim on the outside, then HG, then plastic. So it was like 3 separate parts.
God.
And so
that's probably a nightmare to me.
Yeah, but it was sick because it played like this. But then when you used it for off string, it did bounce, like it protected the
came
rim.
in awful colorways too. Like they'd
really
be cool
bad.
now, but like
they
back
were like
in the day,
glitter, like
pink
glitter, silver, pink, and
like brown.
Yeah,
and then like teal, glitter, silver, and brown.
Yeah, it was weird as hell.
But yeah, interesting series. We should
cool
definitely talk about doing a Yo-Yo Jam brand. That would be a sick idea.
Yeah. Yo-Yo Jam, and the last yo-yo we got here.
This is a very cool one. I don't remember the exact story. We should maybe we should interview Guy as a
Guy, right?
Were you hanging out with Guy a lot back in the day, I guess? Or
a good amount. Him and Elliot, yeah.
Okay. So then you probably have some good stories with them too. But that'd be a cool joint interview too.
No, just our New York trip 2007 is enough. Dude.
That would be fucking incredible. I forget all the details.
And like I stole some guy's Timberland boots and like wore them through the subway, and then I ended up with like no shoe. It was like the weirdest.
I remember all of this.
I was so shit faced. But that was Elliot's roof, and Guy and Elliot, they had like a nice apartment. And yeah, it was a fun time as a 16-year-old.
Yeah, New York 2007, like we talked about in your podcast, it was still kind of rough. Yeah. So this is Guy Wright's signature model from Spy Yo-Yos.
Classic Spy nipple here.
Spy nipple, yeah. Which
Punchline.
was a company from Canada that I also had a pro model with called the Trainwreck. The guy who owned Spy was like adamant about maintaining the nipple. Like, I kind of was like not feeling it. Or I didn't mind it, but I was like, it's not me.
It is fun though. You can really
why don't you change it? I just felt like it was a novelty, you know what I mean?
Cool starts with it.
And then as soon as Hubstacks came out, it's like, all right, we don't ever need to do this again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he kind of like refused to ever change it. And then same thing with the D-size bearing, you remember?
Yes, early adopter D-size bearing.
This one is large.
Yeah, that is C bearing. But that...
Great yo-yo.
You said it's not a proto. It seems like it might be.
No, I said it is a proto.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it's a prototype punchline.
I think they maybe just made the gap a hair wider for
amazing
production
shape.
or something. Yeah, great shape. Very unique shape, original for the time, especially
for the time. Absolutely. For now, it's still unique. Yeah, I feel like
they could remake this and it would be great.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Spy was known for making.
Damn, I should have.
Great machinist.
I have Guy's jersey, his Spy jersey, in my closet at the house too. I should have brought that with, but yeah, for some reason at the contest, Guy and Danny would get. I mean, everyone would drink a lot, but like Guy and Danny were like trading. Not even trading clothes because obviously Guy is way taller than Danny, but like he was wearing his jersey and then playing with his. I think he was drunk pretending to be Guy. Or something.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, and then he ended up with his yo-yo prototype punchline, which I now cherish. I occasionally throw it and then it's a great yo-yo. Yeah, it's just like it's not dated. It's just like I don't know. It's not bad. It's a great yo-yo. Like everyone I played with is so good. It's just like
Spies just play weird.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
they have a weird. He's a really talented guy. He's an engineer who designs parts for race cars, so he knows what he's doing. But
I think Danny maybe like lubed this bearing or something. So like when it like doesn't spin as long as it should or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't spin long, but
Great yo-yo.
Cool shape. Another interesting company, part of history, yo-yo history. They were very early aluminum yo-yo guys, Spy.
Yeah.
They were very smooth for the time.
They made a ton of
Had a great team too. Guy Wright, Ed Haponic, some other people.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Nate Sutter was maybe on there? No,
Nate Sutter was definitely
Word. Oh, was he on Spy too?
Yeah.
Come on, Bubba. Get out of the way.
It's like,
Come on.
I'm going to sit there. So
Yeah.
you're standing there. So
Yeah, he wants to sit next to me. You want to steal Tyler's seat barrel. Big mean boy.
I'm sorry.
Be nice. Okay, so what are these?
So Duncan back in the day, this is a set of counterweights. Not going to turn it around yet and unveil a surprise. But if you bought a Freehand Zero back in the day, I don't know.
Freehand MG. These came with.
Yeah. But just Freehand Zeros would come with one of the character counterweights.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, like you said, a Freehand MG came with the whole set. And then they would, like, every year they made a couple different variations for 2 or 3 years, but no one ever bought them. And like, if they sit in the sunlight for long enough or like aren't properly stored, like the plastic explodes. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Like a counterweight in package will like explode or something.
Really?
Yeah. These ones, I think, because they're painted black, maybe it's like,
Protecting it.
yeah, like it's such a thick pigment of paint, it like seals it from the outside air, you know what I mean?
It's weird.
But yeah, so these counterweights, because Steve was, everything he made was black and red back in the day, so all these counterweights are black and red. But it's kind of funny that all the people are now in blackface.
Yeah, more or less blackface counterweights. Got the little Duncan boy. We got
Steve
the
also is like
panda.
weirdly anime themed too. Like that's also kind of,
Yeah.
it's not bad. Like, I don't know. That isn't bad. The fact that he's kind of in blackface is a little bad, but I don't know.
It's
just for
weird.
aesthetic.
No one
It's
ever
not-
used
no one
these
bought
counterweights.
these, yeah.
They were trash as a counterweight. Like the plastic was rubbery.
This
and
is
that
what
didn't feel
happens when you, sorry. Yeah.
good. No, what are you gonna say?
No, I was just going to say it's what happens when you like,
Have too much.
yeah, like a corporate like a corporate entity owns your company and then they see that you're making something that's like just a little bit popular and it's like, oh, someone would buy a whole set of these. And it's like, no, they really don't even care about this one. It's like a novelty that we make. It's like, oh, people will buy
All
them. And
people
it's like,
wanted were clear dice, and we couldn't even get those till like 2016.
yeah, it's hilarious. Now they're
We just wanted clear dice. That's all.
Duncan can't stop making clear dice.
I know.
Everything comes
There's
with a
too
clear
many
die.
now. I don't like them
It
anymore.
was so funny when they did the Danny yo-yo. I like sent that like as a meek message, like, hey,
Mhm.
I know that like we already talked about like the and everything, but I saw that one of the other yo-yos were coming with a clear counterweight. Like, is it cool if we do clear? But I was like, oh yeah, for sure. They can come with clear. And I was
Mhm.
like, I remember people paying like $30-$40
Yeah.
for clear.
John Robb
counterweights,
had
yeah.
like 7 or 8 of them, and the original Hyper Freehand ones are different from the new ones. They are. They have the drill holes
they
in a
are,
different
yeah.
spot, and they weigh like they weigh a very minor difference. It's
Is
not
it
a big
heavier or
deal.
lighter?
I don't remember. We'll
whatever.
have to find one. I don't have an original anymore.
I also
I do. I
remember-
have a red clear one from the Hyper Freehand.
John
Crazy.
like indirectly sticking up Steve for clear counterweights, but he was like nice and cordial. But he's like, "Hey man, like thank you for hooking up Tyler with all those yo-yos and shit, man." And I swear, I think Steve showed me like a bag of clear counterweights. He just had like 30 or 40 of them, and they were deep in his attic. And like it was one year Worlds, like, and him and Steve were both drunk, and it was in a yo-yo factory room. And he's like, "Hey man, like thank you for giving Tyler all those yo-yos a few years back. Like you really hooked us up at the time, blah blah blah." Like he told me about those clear counterweights. Yeah, and Steve was like, "Oh yeah, man." John's like, "Yeah, man. I want about 10 of them things when you find them eventually. You don't need them now. I don't need them now. I'm just saying, when you come around to them eventually, I just want like a handful of them. Just drop them in an envelope. I'll PayPal you for the shipping. Just tell me how much it is. I'll send you a nice little 20 piece."
Nice.
It was so funny. But like, sure enough, one day, John texted me and I was at work at Yo-Yo Factory. He's like, "Yo, this motherfucker Steve really came through." And he like showed me a
Wow.
mailer envelope, and it was like 15 or 20 clear counterweights. I was like, I cannot believe Steve remembered that after
That's
all these
insane.
years. Like, but I kind of distinctly remember Steve having them in a big bag in his attic, because I'm sure going to Japan for
Yeah.
Hyper Yo-Yo stuff where they originally had them, he was able to just,
Hilarious.
if you want any of them, I have a bunch of MIP hyper freehands.
You'll
I'll
buy
bring
one.
them up. I
I'll
have
buy
like
one off you if you
no, I'll give you one, man. Seriously,
Oh.
I have like. Then when Danny died, I inherited a couple too. So
I would love one to go on. I want to have that on my wall, and then I'm gonna have a Danny freehanding package on the wall. It would be cool.
Yeah,
But I do love the hyper freehand caps. They're just so dope.
I have a couple extra one if you want any. Do you need any or
What?
hyper freehands?
I would like one if it's mint and pack. Or no, you just have extra.
I maybe have one extra package one. I have definitely a series of like 4 in
We
package.
can talk, yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We could even remake the package, as stupid as that sounds, but Ryan has a vacuum former.
Oh, yeah?
We could kind of redo
That would be
it
sick.
because it's pretty simple. It's just like a simple shape and shit. But
Yeah.
I love how we're fucking nerding out about
I
that.
know.
That's so funny.
Well, that was a great collection of
yeah,
yo-yos.
we need to do a whole freehand episode next time.
Yes, we'll get into freehands
Do that
and just
next
talk
time.
more about freehands, believe it or not. We can talk about freehands. Right?
It'll be good
an
timing
iconic
though,
yo-yo.
with
Yeah.
the freehand, the new series
Mhm.
coming out with the Danny collection and everything, because all those yo-yos are coming over and they'll all probably be out in like October, November or
Yeah.
something. So that'll be right when I come back from Biggie.
Perfect.
Are you free in October?
Yes. I'm free in October. Do a Halloween special where we dress up.
Oh man, Jesus Christ. Yeah, we should do
the
that.
podcast.
Holy shit. All right.
You
Shout
can
out.
dress as Steve in blackface. And I'll dress,
Oh my God.
I'll dress as a flying panda.
You really
or
got a zinger there.
throw monkey.
Man, or a throw monkey.
Yeah,
You're
I'll
just,
be a throw monkey.
these are just all racist characters. This is just
Fucking
all.
monkey. Panda.
This is a fucking minstrel show. This is what Steve was doing back in the day, just secretly. He's like, I gotta work for the man, huh? This is what I'm gonna do.